Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome back to the Duck Talks 19 with the big topic where I talk about the idea of Japanese CAS and the problem currently in the game that I see when Japanese tanks get implemented without any changes to the Air Force. Now, that's not the only topic, and I will give you just a bit of a rundown about the topics that I will talk about. First, about Mike Goes Boom and his We Have to Talk video. Then I activated ads, no freaking Golden Eagles app. I will tell you why. YouTube has screwed me over a little bit, and the problems with cinematic. And I will begin with Mike Goes Boom, and I will give you a timestamp round about now, where you should see when I begin to talk about CAS. So, Mike Goes Boom has released a video where he talked about that he is not really feeling anymore like playing War Thunder on a daily basis. I fully understand how he feels in that respect, because at certain points you just overplay the game, or there is nothing more to research in that desired tech tree, and you think you have already seen all the things that there is, and then different and other games come out. You go a bit deeper into the substance of the game and see flaws that you haven't seen prior to that. I fully understand how this is. The problem is that he has not said that like half a year ago, where it wouldn't have been such a problem like it is now. Let me explain why. Mike Goes Boom is a dear friend. He is a cool guy. He has a lot of skill. Despite him saying that he has not or whatever, he has a lot of passion for the game and about his channel. I completely understand, the position he is in, because while I have a much smaller channel and my content is, a bit different, it actually also aims at, becoming good, better, and then very good. And you also try to educate people. This is one of the things that I think I'm not too terrible in with my tank reviews. By the way, Panther 2 tank review upcoming, and also not Centurion Mark 3. Carnarvon. Yeah, right. Carnarvon. I'm currently working on a Carnarvon tank review. Just need to get a bit more experience in realistic battle, but it plays really well. Back to the topic. There is now the time of the year where we see another closed beta, so to speak, for ships. It is this time. And we have seen numerous closed beta. Also, tanks will arrive for the Japanese. I'm not so hyped for Japanese tanks, but I'm curious about them, especially the implementation. More on this in a moment. I'm more interested in boats and naval warfare. This is always the part that I missed about War Thunder, and now it seems like the game will be much more complete in this respect, in my personal opinion. And Mike has one ace upon his sleeve, if I pronounced it right, and that is his blueprints. If you don't know his blueprints series, I don't know what you do with your life. Watch them. They are very well done, highly informative, give you all the necessary information. Maybe they are not exactly what you want, but in my opinion they are very informative and very good. And he talked about that the War Thunder community is too small. I agree and disagree. It might look like the War Thunder community is small, but it isn't. There are other YouTube channels with up to, I don't know, 500,000 subscribers, and they have covered War Thunder, or some with a bit less, subscribers, up to over 300, 400,000 subscribers. They still cover War Thunder. Not just War Thunder, but also War Thunder. So there is a huge potential out there to get at least 200,000 subscribers if you are good. And Mike has definitely the potential to do so. With the message to drive back the War Thunder content a little bit, I think he gave himself an arrow to the knee, because when ships come out, his blueprints are exactly what everybody is looking for, and that would be necessary to educate the community. And while I want to, do practically the same, I just have like 5% of Mike Goes Boom's subscriber base. Not of his special subscriber base, but just in numbers. I mean, I I love it that my channel is growing at the moment. I have 865 subscribers, so it's steadily growing. But it's not like growing to 10,000 subscribers overnight. I have to work very hard for it with every video that I do, and I love to do it. Don't get me wrong, but the results are not what I hoped for, but they are better for what I actually could have hoped for realistically. So it's not too bad for me, and you know with upcoming Japanese tanks and with upcoming ships, we need more people that take or put out very high quality videos that educate the community, that actually have the potential to get viewed by tens of thousands of players, so that the knowledge actually spreads. And knowledge is one part that gives you also much more fun within the game, in my opinion. And if you know yourself, if you know your enemy, not quoting Sabaton by the way here, you have more chances in the right engagement, and you are the one that has to pick the circumstances of the fight. This is a basic message. Make it as unfair as possible for the enemy to have a fair fight. And that counts not just for for the tank warfare, but also for aircraft. Always try to have an advantage over your opponent, and if you don't have an advantage, then just try to disengage from the engagement and try to build up an advantage with relocating or climbing away from your enemy, getting an altitude advantage or a better cover in a tank. It doesn't matter. That's the basic message. And I think also a very important message is that I think one YouTuber never can give you all the information, not just by the sheer amount of content that there is to be covered, but also from his point of view. There are, let's say, two very good players within War Thunder, and both make guides. And I'm not talking about me here, by the way. But the one thing that aircraft is good, the other one is saying it is bad, for example. And both have, a certain skill setting, both have a lot of experience, but the aircraft does not really fit their style. And they might bring up the same arguments or the same statistical things about the aircraft and put it into a different light. So it is actually very difficult for every viewer of those channels to get a very good feeling. But if he watches both sides, so to speak, about the same aircraft, he might get a feeling for where the aircraft really stands, if he has a lot of experience himself. That is, for an unexperienced player, it is nearly impossible to explain it in the right way, so to speak. So there are three other topics, respectively, about YouTube. The first thing is, as you might have noticed, I activated apps on certain videos of my channel. Those who have a lot of views, the tank reviews, and especially all those that do not have any copyright material in them. The one massive clickbait video, as I titled it, I can't monetize it, and I don't want to monetize it, because it has a song or a part from a song from the sport in it, and that is copyright protected, so to speak. So I don't have a problem with that. But videos that I put a lot of effort into myself, like the cinematic video, more on this in a moment, and also my tank reviews, where I have not used any music in it. I think I used it in 1 or 2 videos so far. I can't monetize them as well, and I don't have a problem with it, because I actually counted on them not getting monetized. Not really counted, but I knew what I was doing. And no free Golden Eagle app. Now, why is that? Well, the campaign has ended before I was sent the link, so I hesitated a little bit too much, and I think that's the lesson, don't sell the fish before it is catched. Yeah. So I think it's not such a problem. And then the third part is YouTube screwing with me, not directly screwing with me, but if you remember the thumbnail, you know how they are done. I have the picture of the tank or the airplane, a little bit of text in the thumbnail, and then at the bottom and the top there is a red line, you know, as some sort of frame to give some contrast to the thumbnail, which is so important. You know, I really underestimated the importance of a thumbnail. Yes, Orange, I know, I know. By the way, Orange will not watch this video. Jokes aside, you know, and YouTube has implemented a new feature or tool, whatever you want to call it. And when you're watching a video not in full screen mode and other videos are, you know, there for you to watch, and you have already watched some of them, then there is a red line at the bottom of the thumbnail, and the full red line goes as far as you have watched the video, which is a good tool. On the other hand, you know, it completely interferes with the thumbnails of my videos. Now, if somebody, you know, just scrolls through all the recommended videos, he might just see the red line at the bottom of my thumbnail and might say, I must have watched it already, and goes on. But he has not watched, so I might lose a lot of views right there. But what can you do, right? I must potentially have a new pattern or something. I don't know. I have to think about this. Then let's come to the cinematic part. Like, I have done the War for Oil. Those of you who watched it, you know, you guys really loved it. I intend to make more on them, but they don't get watched for the amount of effort I put in, like a few hours of recording and bringing together the people and instructing them to do what I want to be done was not easy. And up to this point, you know, under 400 people have watched it. My tank reviews, on the other hand, go through the roof in comparison, especially on the Conway and the T-54-47, you know, with like nearly twice that amount of views. So you can know where it is based on, because in my opinion, a tank review is done much easier for how I do them than such a cinematic footage where I have to get the copyright-free music, I have to instruct the people, they actually have to do what I want them to do, then the thing that I want to do has to actually work, and so on and so on. And then a lot of, you know, editing, cutting, putting together timing and so on, you know, that takes a lot of time. So it's kind of a shame, but you know, my channel is more known amongst my subscribers for the tank reviews or, you know, kind of gameplay than for real cinematic stuff. But I still want to do them. The last attempt actually has failed horribly because of the replay system. Now, the replay system itself is really great for making pretty footage. The problem was the planes were shown as being damaged, carrying no payload, which was really important for the video. The tanks involved also were lagging a lot in the replays, despite me being in one of them myself. So I have to bury this attempt. What a shame. Then, yeah, that brings me then to the CAS problem for Japanese tanks. Now, CAS stands for Close Air Support, and there are 4 other nations next to the Japanese nation that also have aircraft, and they have much more capabilities in terms of CAS. I'm talking here about supporting the tanks in realistic battles or simulator battles if you are playing it, and you want to support your ground forces with some planes. And usually you do it either with cannon / machine gun fire, or you do it with bombs or rockets, or all 3 at once, so to speak. Not in one run, but you know what I mean. First of all, you can see some footage of the 82 Skyraider, if not now, then later on. And I want to go through those nations and mentioning some aircraft and where they stand. Now, first of all, the Americans have a lot of bombers with a good bomb load. Their fighters and fighter bombers can carry a huge variety of big bombs, rockets. They have a lot of ammunition for their cannons and machine guns. They have rather high penetration values, but they are missing the brutal cannon firepower that Germans in comparison bring on to the table with such planes like the Ju-87Gs, the Henschel 129B2 or B3 with the 75mm cannon, then the recently added Heinkel 219A7 Tier 4 premium plane, features overall 4 30mm cannons, especially MK103 having very high penetration values for aircraft cannons. We have also the Do 335 file aircraft, 3 of them that have bombs. Some of them have bombs, and all of them have at least one 30mm cannon. Same goes for the Tau 152C3. The fighters can carry a single bomb or a pair of really big rockets and have cannons. And even some of the jets like the Horton or the Arado can really devastate the enemy. Same goes for the Russians. They have a huge variety of mediums, light and also heavy bombers with a good payload. They have their infamous or famous IL-2 series of attackers going up to the IL-10 and the Su-6. They also have fighters with big cannons like the Yak-9T or the Yak-9P or UT with 37mm cannons. They can penetrate armor. Not that good in comparison to the German 30mm with HWAP, but you know what I mean. So they are also a very good country for CAS. Then also the British. Well, they are probably the nation with the least CAS potential, but they are not bad. They have medium bombers such as the Havoc, the Wirraway, the Boston, the Beaufort Blenheim, and so on. Even one of the Hurricanes, the Hurricane Mark IV, has twin 40mm Vickers S cannons with 30 rounds. It can switch between HE and AP with up to 70mm of penetration. They have furthermore one of the Tempest Mark IV Vickers P with twin 47mm cannons with really great penetration values. We are talking here about up to 85mm of penetration with a lot of ammunition, 72 shells. And also the Mosquito FB Mark 18 with its 75mm. That is a very good example in comparison to the Japanese, for example. It just can fire AP. It was designed to hunt submarines, but when you can damage submarines, you obviously can deal with tanks as well. They also can carry rockets and bombs. They even have some mediocre to great planes in the dive bomber compartment, Fireflies and Firebrands. And some of their jets can carry rockets and bombs, not so much, but a little bit. And I think the Japanese just lack it. And the real problem that we have with the Japanese is, stay with me, it will become apparent, is that their medium bombers have not the actual close range bomb load like it is given to the Germans or even the Americans and especially the Russians. They just have mediocre bomb loads, and even the big bombs do not really always work, and you have to be careful when Japanese tanks will come into the game, because a very good example is the premium H8K3. Yes, I know it's a heavy bomber, long range bomber, whatever, but let's have a look at the bomb load. It features 8 250 kilogram bombs or 2 800 kilogram bombs. So for a single drop, that seems not to be that bad. But those are armor piercing bombs. And if you don't, directly hit the tank, which is a little bit unlikely with such a big plane, you just have an explosive mass. In an 800 kilogram bomb of 30 kilograms, the American 2,000 pound bomb, which is the nearest equivalent, has over 530 kilograms of high explosives, so half a ton more. So that increases the radius of the destruction of armored vehicles from 3 meters, which is bad for an 800 kilogram bomb in the Japanese terms, to over 50 meters, nearly 20 meters for the Americans in comparison. Also, none of their aircraft have really rockets, except for 3, and those are the 2 N1K2s, but they have just, small rockets, and they just have 2 of them, and they're awkward to aim. And, just to use this magnificent fighter for ground striking is not really the purpose. Their 30 millimeters have less penetration than the 20 millimeters, and they are not really designed to deal with tanks. Maybe with light tanks. You can see it on one of the Pacific maps where you can destroy the light tanks from the side with the 20 millimeter AP rounds. But I'm going into too much detail. The best aircraft for ground support actually is the F-86 F-30, which can carry 16 HVR rockets, and is therefore the third aircraft equipped with rockets, as far as I know, and or 2 1,000-pound bombs. And they are much more effective against tanks than, for example, the 800-kilogram AP bombs. Yes, there is an option for the HE bombs, but not really on the H8K3. On other heavy bombers, they can carry them. But for example, the G4M1 and the 4 variants of the KA-49 have just access to a single 800 kilogram bomb, or a single 500 kilogram bomb, or 4 250 kilogram bomb, and they are not really that effective, in my opinion, if you don't directly hit. And just to miss the target with by 5 meters for the 250 kilograms, for example, is relatively easy. And with a time fuse and so on, they are not really good aircraft supporters. Now, I mentioned previously the 57mm cannons on the Mosquito Mark 18, and we have one aircraft with the 57mm cannon as well with the Japanese, but it's more like a howitzer design. It's the 57mm Ho 401 cannon with just 16 rounds, and it just fires HE with just 8 millimeters of penetration. You might just deal with some open top vehicle or some AAA, but that's about it. And that is nothing that you can't do with other aircrafts as well. There are some Japanese fighters that have up to 250 kilogram bomb loads, like the Ki-43 Otsu. But this is such a good fighter plane. Do you really want to research the bombs just for CAS? I don't think so. So you have quite a lot of trouble, dealing damage. Even the R2Y2s have just one 800 kilogram bomb, and the 30mm cannons are not that effective. They might be a real nightmare against the ships, when they come out, and there will be CAS. I guess there will be CAS, and at higher tiers, the pure volume of fire that the R2Y2 brings to the table is quite impressive, and those ships might be vulnerable to even HE or to the limited amount of penetration that their practice tracer shells have, But overall, so we have in this respect a problem. How can we deal with this? What can we actually bring to the table to solve this problem? Well, there are 3 different things that we might see. First of all, we can expect either the implementation of new aircraft that are dedicated for ground strike purposes, but I don't know if Japan even had such aircraft designed. Maybe some captured premiums, but I don't think that should be right, because they are captured and therefore will be premium. If we will see them like, I don't know, a premium P-47 with bombs and rockets, I don't know. Then maybe we will see new models or modules getting implemented, being able to research for already existing aircraft, increasing their rocket load or bomb load, or giving the bombers or the medium bombers better, bombing capabilities. In comparison to other nations, Japanese just lack the CAS potential. Or the third option is we see no change at all. Like Gaijin says, this is the way it should be, and the Japanese tanks have to practically deal with themselves. Well, that could bring a new element to the realistic battleground forces or the simulators. Japanese planes are throughout the bank very good with turning. They are very good in engaging enemy fighters like P-47s or something like that when they go low and slow for ground units. So I think that Japanese fighters will be able to easily dominate the air. So air domination will be secured easily, in my opinion. But then you have the problem that the Japanese planes themselves can't really deal with the enemy. And for example, if there's just one enemy tank alive and the tanks can't reach him because he has, because he's running or hiding or something and an aircraft has spotted him, it really can't take it out. A normal medium tank is practically not destroyable for the overwhelming majority of Japanese planes. Except if you're lucky and there is a Japanese bomber in the near vicinity. But you know what I mean. And so I'm really interested in your opinion on this topic, so that we actually can hope to bring a solution to the table. I'm really looking forward with what Gaijin comes up. And tomorrow, or the day that this video should be released, we will see a new patch with a server shutdown, so that's highly interesting. And I don't know what that means. If we will see any kind of, I don't know, massive changes, because normally a new or a server shutdown means that a new patch is rolling in, and indeed it's 1.63.3. But I don't know what exactly that means. There was no announcement about closed beta edition or something, so I don't know what's coming. Yeah, and that's it basically with this Duck Talks. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you have to say about all the mentioned topics and what's your opinion on it, and with which solutions we will come up, or we can come up, that have a realistic chance of getting implemented into the game. And we will see each other in the skies and on the battlefield of War Thunder.